You are the daughter of Archbishop Desmond Tutu and winner of the 1984 Nobel Peace Prize for his work against apartheid in South Africa, and then as the head of the Truth and Reconciliation Committee. And you've done a lot of work. I think you've written, co-authored maybe 2 books with your father, mm-hmm. and then authored as well a biography of your father, mm-hmm. and then have been the head of the Desmond and Leah Tutu Legacy Foundation. So a lot of work there, working at preserving the great legacy of your father. Mm-hmm. And I wonder if, for those who are younger and might not really know many of the stories of apartheid or what that system was like, when you think back to your childhood, what do you remember about kind of the mundane realities of that kind of system and the way it pressed down upon you individually or your family or your friends and the community that you were a part of?
Yeah, I think, it's so difficult to describe, again, the dailiness of living under an oppressive system, and the physical reality of living under a system that was so oppressive. I was really privileged. My siblings and I went to boarding school. I, for high school, went to boarding school in Swaziland, which is across the border from South Africa, and is a completely different environment. And I just remember the experience of crossing the border. You go through a South African border post and then through a sort of no man's land and then through the Swazi border post. And I just remember the physical sensation of crossing out of South Africa and the physical experience of relief of being outside South Africa. So that's one thing. But the experience of living in South Africa was for a Black person was an experience of daily petty indignity. So there was grand apartheid, which was you can only live in an area designated for people of your race, that as a Black person, the area that was designated for you was as close as it could be to a slum. The housing was inadequate. I would drive in holiday times. I would drive into work with my dad. I was attending an art school in Johannesburg, and we would drive from Soweto into Johannesburg in the morning and then drive back in the evening. And driving back in the evening, you come sort of down there's a slight hollow as you drive into Soweto, and you actually see the air change, because in Soweto, at that time, there was no electricity in most of the houses in Soweto, and people would cook on coal stoves. And so you'd see all of the smoke from the coal burning fires that just hung over the whole township. And ironically, there was a power station right at the edge of Soweto, but the electricity supplied by that power station went to the white area in Johannesburg, as opposed to providing power for Soweto, for the township. And there's the hardship and the horror of it, but there was also the genuine humor and camaraderie and activism that was also bound up in that experience of apartheid. And I think that one of the things that you recognize under apartheid was how resourceful people were, and it was clear that the government wasn't going to do anything to make life easier for people, and so you'd have so many people dedicating time, effort, energy, financial resources to helping each other.